All right, how's it going, everyone? So we are on topic 8.6, feeding and eating disorders, substance-related and addictive disorders, and finally personality disorders. So let's start with feeding. Okay, so with feeding and eating disorders, it's in the name. These are patients who are struggling with some sort of um, feeding or eating issues. We've got 5 specific that we're going to talk about, so let's get after it. The first, fairly simple, PICA. This is the eating of non-nutritious, non-food items. Patients will be eating or craving items that are not food. Sand or dirt, metal, just things that are not actually food. And so they will, eat that. That's PICA. Okay, next we've got rumination disorder. So when we are looking at rumination disorder, this is simply the repeated regurgitation of food and then the consumption of that regurgitated food. So oftentimes food might be completely chewed up, swallowed, and then spat up, then to be eaten again, or sometimes it will just be food that is just chewed on in the mouth, spat back out, and then put back in. And they might cycle through this multiple times, eating the same food again and again and again. Next, we have anorexia nervosa. This is a disorder most common in women, a disorder that was really prevalent like 90s, 2000s, and beforehand, but body positive culture has helped out quite a bit. 2 major things with this. First, this is extreme dieting and or extreme workout, exercise. So you have the patient believes that they are overweight, which is the second part. This is a body dysmorphia. So when they look at themselves, they think that they're much bigger than they actually are. And so they will exercise and diet to the extreme in order to get as small as possible, and oftentimes never feeling as if they are in a good place. And so they'll, diet and diet and diet, hoping to get to that perfect image and, never really hit it. Next, we have binge eating disorder. This is where the patient eats an incredibly large amount of food in a small period of time. They do this oftentimes to their own discomfort, and oftentimes will eat to absolute bursting, be really uncomfortable, having their stomach really hurt, feeling nauseous, whatever, but continue to eat. And they just can't stop eating during that period of time. Oftentimes this will lead to people that are morbidly obese, not all the time, but they'll, as I said, eating huge amounts of food in small periods of time. Okay, that is binge eating disorder. Next, we have bulimia nervosa. So bulimia nervosa is, oftentimes we'll see patients that are fairly not too over or underweight. Most often they'll be just like at average or maybe slightly overweight, and this is the binging and purging disorder. So they will eat too much food and then they will attempt to purge it. So purging could be vomiting or taking laxatives to send it out the other way. But basically what ends up happening is you have a patient that is, trying to lose weight or trying to, be on a healthy kick, and then they will fail at that thing, eat too much, and feel really bad about it. So they will then attempt to purge that food, and just not having control over how they feel about the thing, and eating too much, and then purging, and just a complete lack of control there. Okay, so that is bulimia nervosa. All right, so substance related and addictive disorders. So when we are looking at this, so there are 10 separate types of drugs, alcohol, caffeine, cannabis, hallucinogens, things like that, that falls into this. And really all this is an inability to stop taking those drugs. When we go back and we look at, all right, what's a psychological disorder? It's something that it negatively impacts the person in their daily life. They can't live in a normal fashion, and there you go. That's what we're looking at with substance-related and addictive disorders. So, whatever drug it is or substance that they're taking, that's what's impacting them. So, and what are they no longer able to do in their daily life? How is this overtaking everything else? That's what we're looking for. Okay, last set of disorders are personality disorders. We got quite a few of these to do, actually. We got 10 of these different disorders to go through. And personality disorders, as it says, these are maladaptive ways of behaving that basically negatively impact how a person functions, how we present ourselves to the world. This is what's getting mixed up. So we have 3 different clusters of personality disorders. We have cluster A, B, and C, and each of these clusters kind of hit different things. So cluster A, odd, bizarre, or eccentric behavior. So we have paranoid, schizoid, and schizotypal in this grouping. So all of these, the patients exhibit those types of behavior. So paranoid personality disorder. Paranoid personality disorder is a pattern of distrust and suspiciousness, and the belief that other people have, evil or dark motives towards you. Patients with paranoid personality disorder just have a really hard time trusting other people. They constantly believe that other people are out to get them or are trying to work something on them, trying to get something out of them. So constantly concerned about what other people are thinking or what other people are doing. These are patients that just have absolutely no trust in other people. So next we have schizoid personality disorder. So 2 aspects of schizoid personality disorder is the lack of social relationships, just a detachment from them. Generally speaking, people with schizoid personality disorder are not interested in making friends with other people. They want to be by themselves. They are uninterested in being around others or making friends with other people. But they also have when we were talking about schizophrenia, is that flat effect, that lack of social response. Something exciting is happening around them. No real expressiveness on that. Overall, just fairly neutral in the things that they're doing. Unexcited about a lot of things. So that is schizoid. Next, we have schizotypal. So first, again, very similar to schizoid, it is a discomfort in close relationships. So again, these are people that are going to avoid spending time with others or being in close proximity with other people. And the second part is cognitive or perceptual distortions. Most often this manifests as eccentric behavior. They have beliefs that are really outside of the loop. They have a lot of strange behaviors. This picture is very silly, but it's fairly accurate on what we're looking for. I like to think of those alien movies where you have that person that lives out in the shack away from everybody else, and he wears that tinfoil cap on his head, and talks about aliens abducting him and stuff like that, and he's finally proven correct. That would be someone with schizotypal personality disorder. Okay, so next we have cluster B, and cluster B, these are patients that struggle to regulate emotions or have dramatic or erratic emotional responses. So 4 specifically with this: antisocial, borderline, histrionic, and narcissistic. So let's start with antisocial. So antisocial personality disorder is fairly simple. This is just a patient that lacks empathy. They are unconcerned with what other people feel because they are unable to understand how other people feel or the pain that they are suffering. And so what we're looking at is people who can, in the end, be very dangerous. This is often considered one of the most dangerous psychological disorders because these are people that are unconcerned with what happens to others, and you end up with a lot of serial killers or people of that nature who would be diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder. Okay, next we have borderline personality disorder. So it is a pattern of instability in interpersonal relationships and self-image. A patient with borderline personality disorder generally has extreme emotions, and these extreme emotions they use on a day-to-day basis. So I really like this picture because in a normal brain, we have varying reactions to things that happen. Someone steps on our toe, we're like, hey, don't do that. Someone purposely hits us with their car, we freak out. Patients with borderline have had traumatic events happen in their life, and they have found that extreme reactions help them get through whatever situation is going. So often what you will find is you will find something really small happening, and the patient with borderline personality disorder will go to 100%. You open the door for them, and they're like, oh my gosh, you're the nicest person in the world, like, I love you so much, I can't believe you would do this for me, this is amazing. Again, you accidentally open the car door into them or shut the car door on them or something like that, and it's explosively angry. I can't believe you would do this to me. I thought you loved me. Like, what are you? I can't believe you. Oftentimes these emotional outbursts are used in manipulation to get people to do what they want. Part of it's just an insecurity on who they are, and just kind of a tough check on life. So, yep. So that is borderline personality disorder. Okay. So next we have histrionic personality disorder. Patients with histrionic personality disorder have a constant need to be the center of attention. So they're not really concerned on how they are the center of attention. They just look to do whatever it takes to be noticed and recognized by the people that are around them. It is the idea of any press is good press, or I don't even know if that's like bad press is still good press or something like that. They will say and dress in strange manner or in provocative manners in order to be the center of attention. If they're in like a group of friends and two of those people start to date one another, they might interject themselves into that relationship in order to stay the center of attention. These are people that are the story toppers. Someone tells a story and their story has to be bigger, louder, or more exciting than what the other person has said. Again, always wanting to be the center of attention, and they're not really concerned on how that happens, just so long as people are paying attention to them. Okay. Next, we have narcissistic personality disorder. So this is having a unwarranted sense of self-importance, believing that they are much bigger than they really are. I am God. I am Jesus. So patients with this, think that they're the center of the universe, and are incredibly selfish and really only care about themselves. All right, so cluster C, anxious and fearful behavior with patients being antisocial and withdrawn. We've got avoidant, dependent, and obsessive compulsive personality disorder. So first we have avoidant personality disorder. Avoidant personality disorder, it is a pattern of social inhibition, feeling of inadequacy, and hypersensitivity to negative evaluations. So patients with avoidant personality disorder are terrified of what other people think about them. So generally speaking, they will just stay away from them as much as possible. Ends up looking very much like social phobia, where the patient is so concerned about what other people think that they just don't get themselves into any situation where other people might be able to judge them. So next we have dependent personality disorder. These are people who are submissive and cling to another person and believe that they need to be taken care of. These are people who won't make decisions for themselves, will require other people to make decisions for them or to take care of them, oftentimes clinging on to just like one or two people. And they lean on those people to make everyday decisions like what they should wear, what they should do for the day, what they should eat, all sorts of stuff. And they fear being abandoned by those people because they can't really function without them. So that's dependent personality disorder. So next we have anancastic or obsessive compulsive personality disorder. So this is not OCD, this is OCPD. Okay, so this is a pattern of preoccupation with orderliness, perfectionism, and control. So these are people that are have an excessive preoccupation with details, order, organization, and perfectionism. So they have no issue taking hours upon hours to complete a task, so long as it's done properly. So they will ignore leisure time or relationships in order to complete these items. You see the gentleman there using scissors to cut the grass. That is a very good example of anancastic. Patients just have no concern about taking an extreme amount of time to do something very, very simple because this is what helps them cope with their anxiety, is being able to control those types of things. Okay, all right, so that will do it for us. Thank you so much for stopping by, guys. This is the last of the abnormal videos, so hope you guys have a great day, and we will see you later.